Hi everyone, Nikki Buckaloo here at Seniors Real Estate Institute. Thanks for joining me for this video. I'm going to be sharing with you the answer to a question today that I get from a lot of agents, whether new or seasoned, and that is, what are the most common mistakes that real estate agents make? Now, they ask that in a whole variety of different ways, but I've boiled it down to about 5 most common mistakes that real estate agents tend to make, whether they're new or seasoned. So I'm going to talk about those 5 briefly, and then if you'd like the long version of my answer, then you can go to the blog on our website, and it's much more detailed and has a lot more information for you. So let's get started. So the first mistake that agents tend to make is failing to connect. Now, this has never been more true than now in a world where we're supposedly more connected, right? So social media has given us an opportunity to supposedly connect with more people across the globe, across the neighborhood, down the street. The problem with that is what we might consider true connection doesn't really happen a lot of times on social media. So if you've read the book by John Maxwell, Everyone Communicates, Few People Connect, he's got a great book on this topic, and that I would recommend that book to anyone who's wondering, am I really connecting at a high level? Because most of us, we're communicating, but we're not really connecting. So the second mistake agents tend to make is over time, they will generalize rather than specialize. And you know, when you're brand new to real estate, that makes sense because you're trying to figure out like where is your best use of your time and energy and what makes the most sense for you. But the longer you're in the business, the more likely you are to want to gravitate towards one particular niche or another. In our case, in our real estate practice, we specialize in seniors, and that makes sense for us. That's kind of where our specialty had evolved due to education and a lot of other factors. But for some agents, it might be first-time buyers, or it might be condos. If you live in a large city and you have a tendency, maybe you live downtown and there's a lot of high-rises, that might be your specialty. Farms and ranches for those people who love horses and want to specialize in that arena. So you can specialize demographically or geographically. There's a lot of different ways you can specialize. Then the third mistake is agents have a tendency to learn the hard way. I know I'm definitely a victim of this. What do I mean by that? A lot of times agents will go on for years and years and years without a guide. It's trial and error over and over and over again. And it's hard sometimes because not all brokerages offer coaching and not all brokers are great mentors. So if you don't have a great mentor or a great coach or someone to guide you, I recommend that you look for that person. And it's worth the investment for coaching and training, also reading experience models and systems. That's why we offer classes for agents who specialize in seniors, because people have done it and they've done it successfully. Why not follow a model, right? That was the third. So the fourth mistake is a lot of times an agent has a daily schedule, but it's full of distractions. And what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes your schedule is like hard appointments. Like I have an appointment with a buyer or I have a listing appointment with a seller, and then everything else in there is just blank. And so what happens is we fill that time with distractions. We fill it with Facebook, looking at Facebook, or swiping on TikTok videos, rather than the things that really matter. So I would encourage you to look at your schedule and ask yourself, do I have built into my schedule those things that are going to help me grow my business? And at least 80% of your time should be spent on those things. The other 20% of your time is more flexible because you got to be able to put out fires and jump up at any given moment to take care of something. And then lastly, the fifth mistake is that, and this really happens for a lot of agents as they have been in the business for a long time, and that is that they lack purpose and passion. I can't tell you how many agents I've spoken to who have come to the Seniors Real Estate Institute and said, you know what, I'm just thinking about getting out of the business. This is just not fun for me anymore. Well, that happens, right? It happens with anybody in any profession. I've had doctors say that, and I've had, people in financial services say that. But in real estate, the really cool thing is that you don't have to do it the same way forever. One of the things you can do is go back to my third point or my second point, which is specialize. And the passion comes back when you realize that you can do it in a way that makes sense for you. For instance, we have a couple of agents that I interviewed just yesterday who are literally transitioning from the day-to-day real estate practice where they're writing contracts and showing houses to handling just simply the education piece of what they do, and they've hired another agent to write those contracts and show houses. And so they're doing what is fun for them and what brings passion to their life. So be thinking about that for yourself. Don't assume that you have to do it the same way forever. So I think that's it for the 5. Again, I told you that there's the blog on the website that has a lot more detail if you decide you want to dig in a little deeper. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe. And until next time, I'm Nikki Buckaloo at the Seniors Real Estate Institute, and I'll see you on the next video.